Welcome to the Industry Boring podcast. I'm Colin Reichart, your host, and today we'll be covering almost anything related to cannabis. Hey Skip, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Colin?
I'm well. Hey man, thanks for joining the Industry Born podcast. Um, you know, uh, I don't know if you've heard any of the other episodes. This is basically just an open conversation and just an opportunity to kind of get to know you a little bit, know your industry story, that kind of thing. So I was curious. I saw it when I was looking at your product because I know I started working with Patrick Ray. Do you know Patrick Ray?
I do. Yep, I know Patrick
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah. So were you part of his starter program?
I was in the first class of Canopy Boulder. Yes.
That's right. Okay, I thought because I'm listen. I mean, I remember going to a show, and I think it was one of the MJ BizCons. It was one of the earlier ones because it was at the hotel before it went to the convention center, and I think that's where it was. Can't remember. And Patrick was excited. He's like, "Oh, I want you to meet." I don't know if he introduced us at that time, or if I came by the booth and he said, "Oh, I'm working with this company," and he showed me some of your products, and that was 4 years, maybe
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah, that was probably when
Think
it was
that-
at the Rio. I'm guessing it was 2016, but
Yep.
possibly even 2015.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. So that was a really cool project that Patrick was doing back then. And he actually was on one of my. He was still. I don't have a board any longer, but he was an advisor for me when I got started, and I found him to be very helpful in my journey because I didn't know jack shit about business when I got into this thing. So, how was that experience for you?
Canopy was great. I really enjoyed it. I'm sad to see they're not really doing that anymore. Hopefully they'll bring it back around, but maybe it's got its useful life and didn't serve as much of a purpose anymore. But for me, it was extremely important. I got a lot out of it, so
Yeah.
continue to get a lot out of it. So
So was your experience in that in there and then following on your fundraising and capitalizing experience? How has that been for you? Because I know for me, we've never been as attractive in this industry as the guys who grow weed, or grow cannabis, right? Those are the guys everybody's like, ooh, we want to be on your team, and then us equipment guys come along, they're like, hey man, can we get some cannabis money? They're like, get out of here.
yeah, I feel you. It's not easy to hardware. They say is hard, and software scales, and that's
Yeah.
I think investors take that to heart in a lot of cases. And I'm impressed with what GreenBroz has done. You guys have a bunch of impressive products, some
Thank you.
complicated things. I can't imagine the challenges you've been through to get these to market and to get them to market so they're in good shape because it's
Is this? I promise you, it's the same challenges that you faced. It's just it's a different product. I mean, that's why I like talking to people who have tangible goods and who have come up in the industry because we have such similarities in what we've had to struggle with. And even though the product may be different, we're very fortunate. I mean, we've built a great brand, and we're very fortunate. Right time, right place, and things like that. But even with that being said, the challenges that we face are I'm sure we'll laugh about a couple of them here today, but they're very very similar, man. I can promise you that.
yeah,
So
trying to raise money. You hit it spot on. It's really hard to get attention when people are growing weed. That's a lot more exciting. And right now,
yeah,
all the M&A is happening around weed. So it I guess maybe they were right. Maybe that was the quickest solution. In the long run, I'm not so sure that is
right,
the greatest play because it's going to commoditize and it's that there's
right.
whereas what you and I are doing we have a lot fewer competitors, so there is competition out there. But as you've been doing it for long enough, you keep doing it, and things start to actually make some progress. So
Yeah, and the crowd thins out a little bit. I mean, the economics. We all the people in this side of the business are forced to kind of suffer with the same economic issues. We don't get the funding, we don't get the banking support, we don't get the love and the respect that's due for we're a multinational multi-million dollar company, and in any other game, we somebody would be very happy to loan me money to build my business, but that's
Right.
just not how it goes. The struggle is there, and it's just that cannabis stigma. Even though we've got a populace that's 65% in favor of cannabis legalization nationally, you know, here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. In some ways, I feel like things have gotten harder for us than easier.
Yeah,
I equate it to when snowboarding first started. I kind of was a snowboarder right away before ski hills really even knew what it was, so you could go up and
yeah,
they didn't care. And then for a few years there, they started figuring out what it was, and more people were doing it. They stopped it because they weren't really sure what to do.
yeah.
And
They
then
banned it outright.
yeah, they kind of banned it for a while, and then they all started opening it up to it. I feel like we're still in the banning phase of it, where at
Yeah, we're still banned.
first you're
You guys
able
are
to do stuff
you
on
you
Facebook and
bad
Instagram
snowboarder guys.
and
I think that's a great analogy. I hadn't really thought about that, but I think from a business perspective, yeah, sure, that's exactly how it kind of feels. That we're still kind of sitting on the outside and not quite allowed into the party.
yeah, totally.
Despite what your situation looks like, we're just not quite allowed, not quite cool enough to be sexy enough to be sitting at the table.
Yeah, yeah, but originally things I think were easier. Like Amazon, we had a pretty wide open shot at Amazon. Recently, we've been
Yeah,
pulled into tobacco categories, so we can't advertise. Things have gotten more challenging, not less challenging.
yeah,
In certain ways, we're a better brand and bigger and stronger, and so that all
yeah.
helps. But yeah, yeah,
So
I feel your pain. It has been a struggle and
yeah,
fun as
yeah,
well. So
sure.
it's part of my
Without
life
challenge,
story. Hopefully, my book, my personal autobiography, isn't a tragedy. Hopefully, it's a success story. But who knows?
well, write it now, and then it won't
Yeah,
be a tragedy, right?
exactly. Yeah,
Don't wait any longer because you never know.
yeah, yeah,
Fucking supply chain's killing us, man. It's just unfucking
yeah,
believable. But anyway,
yeah.
how are you doing in that regard? I mean, you know, where do you? Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about your product because I think I think that there was, a time frame where a lot of people were paying a lot of attention to products like your product, and then has that continued, and how is your growth? Is what I'm kind of getting to because I think it's very appropriate. So let's start there. Like, what is it you focus on?
Yeah, well, we're a lifestyle brand of cannabis storage. How do you integrate cannabis in your life with the challenges that people have? You don't want your kids
Yeah,
to get your edibles. You don't want your parents or your neighbors or somebody that's going to judge you to smell your weed in your house. And
yeah,
how do you move cannabis around in your life? How do you store? There's lots of pieces and parts. How do you go out at night? How do you go camping or skiing or whatever? So
right.
we've kind of focused on that. So we're kind of the picks and shovels of the industry, as you are too. We're not
Yeah,
touching the plant, but so that's what we've been up to. We've got a good position going. It bounces around. Some years we kill it in distribution, then distribution falls flat. Then we do kill it in e-commerce. Then, as you mentioned, you hated Apple earlier. iOS new privacy thing has really crushed a lot of our marketing abilities.
oh my gosh.
Um, so that's been a tough one. So now e-commerce is down, but our wholesale, we're sold in a lot of the big MSOs around the country and
Oh,
Canada as
good.
well. So there's always something that's holding us up, but
Yeah,
they haven't all come together at the same time, and kind of
right.
waiting for that to happen. But
God forbid you should
eventually,
have a fucking stellar year and have a little money in your pocket. Jiminy
yeah,
criminy, right?
yeah, yeah. Having to say no to everybody because we don't have money is not fun. I'm tired of that. I'm a yes person.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
it's kind of bullshit to be honest with you. So what spurred the kind of creative process around it? Because I mean, honestly, like, so I met this guy years ago, and he had made this little cigarette container, and it was an injection molded piece. So it snapped closed, and when it snapped closed, it was a perfect seal. So it kept all the smell inside the container, and so he would smoke his cigarettes and put his butt in the other side because there's a butt side and a cigarette
oh,
side, and then he would click it closed and put it in his pocket. Dude did not smell like cigarettes. And you know, I've been around cigarette smokers for a long time. Everybody who smokes a cigarette smells like a fucking cigarette, and this guy didn't.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Impressive.
I was
Yeah.
like, that's the greatest thing because you can put your joints in there,
Yeah.
right? And
And
he's
did
like,
he
yeah.
do
So
that?
he was struggling with. He had made this thing and he had the patent and he had gotten. He was at the point where they had done. He had to buy a mold, you know, a large volume injection mold, and it was like $65,000 at the time, and he was just like, I
Yeah.
can't do this,
Yeah.
you know. So he had one.
So he didn't bring this to the cannabis market. The product
He
just
didn't.
was
No,
for
I mean
himself.
he might have now. This has been 15, 20 years ago,
Oh,
maybe,
okay.
maybe
Yeah.
20
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah, yeah. It
Sounds
was
like
just
a
like
useful
that's such
product.
a cool idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
No
was a really
doubt.
cool idea.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway, so but yeah, for you, what I mean, you're kind of in the same concept there, but you just said, hey, this is how I'm going to do it, and
yeah. Well, so I guess I scratched my own itch. I loved edibles. I always have. I've grown, and I've also made my own edibles, and I've always made edibles, and just really enjoy that experience. Once the 2000, I guess 14, 13 came around, Colorado medical program started really opening up, and access to edibles was pretty good, and you could find these low dose edibles, which is what everybody has now. And I just thought that was a brilliant thing to be able to really fine tune exactly what you want instead of me making a batch and then having to try it by my own before I gave it to anybody else so I could explain what's up.
yeah,
This was repeatable and predictable and understandable. So I'm like, this is a game changer. It's a background happy pill. It's going to solve a
yeah,
lot of issues. And anyway, so that was a big thing on my mind. Like, I love this stuff, but I had young kids in the house and babysitters coming in and out, and just felt uneasy that I was going to get somebody in trouble or send them on a bad trip.
yeah,
Um, and in addition, I've been to Amsterdam a long time ago, and I always loved cannabis, and I love trying different strains. And I knew that with the way the market was, you needed to figure out a way to organize all this stuff and store it and take care of it and treat it right. And so,
yeah,
I my previous life, I was an engineer, civil engineer, and sold water and wastewater treatment equipment. And some of your trimming products and things look similar to stuff that I had worked with in the past. So, however, starting a more of a fashion business in the cannabis industry was a big stretch. But what happened was Canopy Boulder came along, and I was trying to figure out how do I get into the industry. I was passionate about it, as almost everybody is that's in
yeah,
this industry. And a couple of people I talked to said, "Can this new thing is starting in Boulder called Canopy Boulder? It's a business accelerator. They're gonna, teach you how to get your business off the ground. You're gonna get some media attention. You're gonna hit the ground running right out of the gate." And I'm like, sounds really cool. It sounds really exciting. And I tried to do it. I found a partner. I was gonna have him commit full time to doing it, and Patrick wouldn't allow the founder to not be 100% committed. So I had to jump in both feet, and I was like, all right, this is where my book starts to get interesting, so I'm going to do it.
yeah.
And
Goodbye, regular
yeah,
job. Goodbye,
yeah,
regular
good guy
paycheck.
security, yeah, yeah.
Goodbye,
So
security, honey. I got to tell you something.
yeah, so anyway,
I know this.
yeah,
I did
you,
that. I understand.
yeah. So do I don't regret it. I still enjoy
No.
what I'm doing, but I'm hoping things will get easier,
Yeah.
as I'm sure you do too. But yeah, so then that's kind of where things went, and from there, got a mentor that I met in Canopy, and he joined and put a little bit of money in, and off we went and did some Kickstarter stuff, and
Yeah.
um,
So,
yeah, that's
so you raised a little bit. I know that Canopy raised a little bit because they give you a little. I think they give you something, and then there's also that mentorship that they provide. But then you said something about Kickstarter. So have you actually gotten more capital to kind of get you up and running over
yeah.
time?
We have we've raised a decent amount of money, but we raised probably about $700,000 over the last 6 to 7 years. So it's
Okay.
not a lot.
Yeah.
but most of it was earlier on. We've been having a harder time raising money lately, but
Yeah.
we've been using debt capital and other things to grow. So things are good. We have a good revenue stream and it's pretty steady.
Yeah.
So we're right at the break even point. We're not making a ton of money, but
Yeah.
we are progressing and innovating and keeping on top of things. So uh,
So do you manufacture yourself or do you have it done?
we have it done
Okay.
mostly overseas. We do some U.S. stuff and we do some assembly work in house too.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's really difficult, especially in I mean, basically textiles, right? I mean, it's really difficult to be competitive in the United States, and we pride ourselves on being competitive in the United States, in our manufacturing. But I mean, I'm not, I know that you can't manufacture everything in this country because there's no structure for it, there's no infrastructure for it. So I mean, it's obviously can't be done with everything. I think we're very fortunate in that respect, but the challenges still remain. I mean, you have, especially I imagine with transportation and transportation costs and importation and all the things you're struggling with. Not you, but everybody's struggling with right now. That's got to be a problem.
yeah. A lot of it's skilled labor for seamstresses and um, that has all left the country long time ago. So there's a
Long
little
time
bit of it
ago.
around, and we work with a company locally to do some prototyping and
Yeah.
bring a few things to market. But the prices are it's just prohibitive. Nobody is. People say they want to buy American, but when it comes
Right.
down to it,
Right.
the quality just isn't there for our products
Yeah,
done local
not in that
domestically.
industry. Yeah, and I think that's so unfortunate, because at one point in time we were the pinnacle of quality for everything, and I feel very strongly that we, like a company like ours, that we still can hold that position, because of the niche that we're in. But if I were going up against, in a traditional industry, I'd be struggling really, really, really hard, to break in on a global scale.
Right. Yeah.
It's just so difficult in this country. But I think there's some really interesting things about like what China has brought. And I'm not a big China supporter, but what China did do is they brought these really interesting pieces of equipment down to a much more affordable price point, like laser cutters and all these kind of things. And all my stuff I've bought from, either, it's pretty top quality stuff. So it's been Netherlands or Germany or Italy. But the point is, like, China has made these things so affordable and approachable that I'm starting to see, guys with smaller shops be able to come back have an opportunity to manufacture again in this country. I think that's exciting, but
Yeah.
that's not applicable to necessarily to your industry, because I mean we're talking about fabrication machines, not sewing machines. And although, God, man, have you seen the multi-head fucking stitching machines that do all the embroidery stuff? Oh my God, those things are fucking cool.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, we're working on trying to get some equipment in house so we can do some customization a little bit more.
Yeah,
Um, but so far we mostly farm that kind of stuff out. But yeah,
yeah.
that
It's
is
just
impressive.
it's always capital. If you have it, you have enough of
Right.
it that you can spend on stuff. Do you do it? And we've been very fortunate. So we've been able to do it, but I totally understand. So as a brand, then you're finding yourself, where are you marketing into? You said, I think you mentioned, being in, uh, uh, kind of in retail in dispensaries or,
Yeah, we found a really good niche in the dispensary market, and we
mm,
like that for a bunch of reasons. And one is that it people go in to get their their weed every 3 weeks, every 2 weeks, whatever. They're
yeah,
constantly going in. So our product gets a there. The other side of that is there's not a lot of accessories sold in dispensaries. So we get a
yeah,
pretty good marketing play out of that
yeah,
because people are seeing our stuff all the time, and then they start to look at things a little more. And so that really does help us out. It also keeps us front and center in the industry. It keeps investors aware. It
yeah.
keeps all it's just we're a part of the industry. So a lot of the big MSOs have really taken to really love our product, and they say it's one of the best accessories they sell. Um,
That's
Granted,
great.
there aren't a lot of accessories sold in dispensaries, but our product is very useful to them because they can promote
It's your market.
safety, responsibility,
Right. Right.
organization.
Right,
There's a
and
lot.
they're conscious of all that too, right? I mean, they're hyper conscious about, the safety of the product because they have these stupid bags. You can't even get into them as an adult. They and then the requirements are there, so they're already conscious about that. So it kind of plays into it.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah, yeah,
our products, almost all of them lock too. They're built-in
yeah,
combination lock, and so they like that part. A lot of states have regulations where
yeah,
they have to sell a locking bag. Some people get around it with just like a cheap plastic Ziploc thing that locks, and that's
yeah.
what you're talking about. And that's not functional. Not you just throw it
Right.
away, and then you're
It's
just
just trash,
wasting
right?
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we take the other approach. We offer a lifetime warranty on our products, so they're made to last.
Well, that's
They're
great.
they're supposed to be used in your life, and we
Yeah,
build them to take abuse and to keep the smell down. And anyway, it's yeah. So the dispensary market has been really good to us because they kind of need
yeah,
us, and
yeah.
we
It's a
take care
great
of
fit.
them. And the dispensary channel is so new that there really aren't established distributors, there aren't established sales reps. So
Yeah,
a lot of people have gone to the smoke shop channel, and we have some competitors, and that's where they sell their stuff, and that is a very
yeah,
good place to sell. And there's some strategy on why we've kind of neglected that. We're starting to get into that market now,
yeah,
but we really like that we own this dispensary channel. And a lot of these, if you look at a crystal ball, and I would say in 5 years, I suspect dispensaries are going to have a much more of a lifestyle play to it because
yeah,
cannabis will probably commoditize. And
yeah.
then how do you get the customers there? And you got to give them an experience that they
Right.
like,
Well,
which
I mean,
means they
look at
want all that. Yeah.
right. I mean, look at liquor, like a liquor store, right? I mean, you can get booze at Walgreens or 7-Eleven or wherever, but they're still a liquor store. Why? Because there's a bigger variety and it's focused. What do they have in liquor stores? All the stuff that they sell is going to be shot glasses or wine glasses. It's all accessory, right? So it
Yeah.
fits right in. That yeah, you go in there and you're like, oh, I'll get a new glass, right, or whatever, right? But you rarely see
Yeah.
things that are off-brand in that environment. So it makes a lot of sense. It's probably a pretty strong play. Have you done any? Have you talked about it? Thought about doing any cross branding or any? You talked about MSOs, and for anybody who's not aware, multi-state operator, an MSO, a company who has cannabis present in multiple states, right? So that's a complexity we could talk about some other time. But an MSO is going to have a large national brand, and those things are pretty valuable. I mean, those guys are pretty brand aware, brand savvy, market savvy. Um, have you had any discussions with some of these guys about co-branding or branding product for them and getting that stuff out there and seeing it going down that route?
The Model G is a premium continuous feed grinder that enables operations to control material size, preserve valuable trichomes, and level up the quality of their pre-rolls. With the G, a single operator can perfectly grind over 100 pounds of dried flower an hour. Every G comes standard with a removable collection tray and multiple screen sizes, so you can dial in your grind size. The machine's surgical stainless steel construction inhibits microbial growth and minimizes cleaning-related downtime. The G can be broken down for full washdown cleaning and maintenance without the use of any special tools. Light cleaning can be completed in under 30 minutes, and full deep cleanings can take as little as an hour. The Model G is manufactured in the USA and is backed by our industry-leading 3-year warranty. To learn more about the Model G or any of our other machines, visit GreenBroz.com/contact to schedule a time to speak with a member of our team. Check out our complete lineup of harvesting equipment at GreenBroz.com.
Yeah, you're right. All these big MSOs, they're starting to get gobbled up and become um,
Yeah,
big weed, big
yeah,
cannabis.
big weed.
And they're bringing on marketing pros from different industries, from
Yeah,
the Gap and Victoria's Secrets and all sorts of different companies are all getting
yeah,
in, and they're using their expertise to help branding because everyone's been talking about branding for a long time, but the
yeah,
dispensary channels and the cannabis industry largely started with a lot of people that were passionate about the plant and not necessarily experts in their fields. of
Yeah.
marketing and other things. So now it's becoming more professional, so they do care about brand. It's interesting though. So we do work with some companies, and it's always been in a co-branding way. And I think our name is out there enough that most of the companies want our name associated with it.
That's great.
They don't necessarily want just their name on it. They want to be connected to, like, this is a quality product, a
Yeah.
quality brand, and they feel like that's probably better than getting some cheap knockoff thing and putting their name on it and not having the same
Yeah.
connection. So we do
That's
a bunch of
great.
that, but
That's a great place to be. I
yeah,
mean, that's a pretty astounding statement to make right there. I mean, can you imagine? Like, I bet you had we had this conversation uh, in 2014 at the Rio,
yeah,
we would be like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
yeah, totally,
But now
yeah,
here you are, like, hey man, there's, we're getting brand, that kind of recognition is so valuable, and to have somebody go, hey, listen, I want my brand associated. Oh,
right,
great.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I love co-branding. I think it's a fucking really, really, really valuable mechanism.
yeah. Were you guys
You
able
know,
to do that a lot as well?
we find ourselves, so we're really starting to work with some bigger MSOs, and we're starting to get some, what we would say, like more sponsorship level type of stuff, because no one's really getting into the equipment side. Really, there's a couple trimming companies out there. There's a couple of extraction companies. There's all these companies that do these little pieces, and we're more of a solutions oriented company. So we have 9 SKUs that we manufacture here, and then we're always developing more along the lines of what we do, kind of expanding our platform, because we're not trying to be a trimming company. We're trying to be we're trying to be a solutions company. So, and what is a solution? Well, it's whatever your customer needs, right? So, but in that respect, we're not really finding, and we've talked to a couple big players like distributors and said, well, we could we can white label, and we actually have our probably one of our first white label deals may come through, which is a company that's they manufacture another high value piece of equipment, and one of our pieces of equipment makes a very solid supporting cast to them, right? So you go, well, this makes sense. So,
Yeah,
they want it to look a little bit different. They want it to feel a little bit different, and they want to put their brand on it. And I'm like, hey, I don't give that. I'm fine. We'll probably make sure that it says made by on the back, with a little GreenBroz on there,
yeah,
but because
yeah,
it's really a difficult thing. Because I mean, we were doing the same thing. Like, we're just trying to get that, very fortunate. I mean, I always thought, and I've always felt this way, because I'm a child of media, right? I mean, my generation was the first generation that started growing up with like continuous exposure to television, right? So I've been watching TV since I was a kid. It's nothing like what's happening today, but I've been so exposed. I always think about image, always think about brand, always think about recognizability. You know what I mean? And there are certain flavors of companies that's how they represent, and to me, that's just normal, right? Like,
right.
I get a feeling when I think of Coca-Cola. I get a feeling when I think about McDonald's, right? And I want people to have a feeling when they think about GreenBroz. You know what I mean? So that's I'm very, very conscious of that. And we spent a lot of time, a lot of money, kind of producing that level of visual awareness for people, even though it's not being played on television. Like, if you look at our website, and everything has always been really, really solid and very, very high energy, high output, high cost associated with it. And that spend, or that energy that we've put into it, has created a very recognizable brand, even internationally. And I think about that all the time. Like, that, to me, that's the biggest portion of the company, because it's what people recognize, right?
Yeah, that's
Doesn't
your
really
most
matter
valuable
what I
asset.
sell.
Yeah, that's your
Yeah,
most valuable asset for sure. That's great. I mean,
you
that's
know.
worth something in the long run. That's what's
Yeah, that's what we're betting on. I mean, hoping that's what sticks. Because the machines we make are going to go in and out of need as product and consumer choices change. Right?
right.
Like, if I think I'm going to sell trimmers the rest of my life, I'm fucking crazy, because. I mean, if my life is short, maybe okay, but generally speaking, we don't know what's going to happen with weed in 5 years. Who
Yeah,
knows if they're even going to trim it? I mean, my God, you might
yeah,
just like be able to like mentally infuse it. I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen? You know, we just don't understand. So we're not sitting there either stuck on one technology. Let's be realistic. We're looking at the whole thing, like what's next. We're trying to lead in that respect. But the point is, like, I don't want to be, I want to be ubiquitous in the brand, right? Like GreenBroz represents what? Quality. GreenBroz represents what? Whatever you need. Have you talked to
Yeah.
GreenBroz? Because they got it. They know what to do with it. They know how to get you where you want to go. And I think that so what that's got. I'm sorry. Back to what you were talking about. Well, that's what gets me excited about where you're at. I mean, if a company's making a conscious decision to go, I want to be associated with this brand.
Yeah.
You're winning.
That's
winning.
That seems like when I was set out to do this, that was definitely thinking, wow, we made it if that happened. It's not necessarily as easy as that, but
no, it's never so.
But it is very impressive, and I'm very proud to have a
you should be. It's really cool. Have you started to do any? And so, do you trade show and do all that crap too? Because I fucking hate them. But do you do those anymore?
We do some. We're trying to get into those more, actually. We just went to Champs for the first time in Vegas recently. Okay. We've been at Champs Denver, but tight budgets. It's, we didn't always have the money to support a distributor, and that's what a lot of people that are at those shows are distributors, and we need, quite a bit of volume and the margins on a product like ours. And I don't know what kind of margins you guys get too, but it's just, if you're trying to work with a distributor, it gets, particularly if distributors aren't that good because they don't have these relationship with dispensaries, which is what we wanted. And
well, so this is interesting because I think this is a really important point that you're bringing up, and I think that this is where a lot of people get caught, right? When you start pricing product, right? When you start building a product and then you start pricing product, you have to understand, right, that there is a margin that needs to be created for the distribution point. And then an excessively brutal margin that has to be created for the retailer,
Right.
And you're all the way down here.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I sell it for this, and I'm getting this. You know, and that can be really, and it's a pitfall, right? It is a dangerous place for a company to be in, especially when you don't understand those things early, and it can be a very, very costly lesson. Obviously those things disappear with volume. So if you got a contract with Kmart, we wouldn't talk about this, right? You'd be like, fuck,
right.
That's my distributor.
Well, we could, and if we were in a different industry, we could get a loan to pay for that, big order, that big purchase order to help us finance that. But and in this industry, it's hard to even get financing to help pay for purchase orders that are big. So we've stayed away from distributors largely because we didn't, if they were to buy it, they'd buy all of it, and then we wouldn't have anything to sell online. So we're like, we're finally getting to the point where we think we can start turning on distributors. We've done a very good job on our own of handling accounts, but we're starting to get there. We're like, okay, we're really testing the waters on distribution now, and
that's great.
And it took a while, and it's certain products that will be a better fit for us, but it's taken a long time.
You don't go with your whole portfolio to distribution. I mean, that again, and we find this too. Literally, hydro stores aren't going to carry $20,000 pieces of equipment. There was a time when they did, and they carried a few, and then they're just like, dude, we're not doing it. We can't floor that, right? We're not a fucking car lot. We can't fucking put up $1 million to hold shit on our floor. And besides, they have tens of thousands of dollars in other shit in their store, and we're just one piece of it. So we've kind of gotten to the point where we're like, we need to create a niche or a piece that fits their need, right? That fits their need, gives them the margins, the profit, the ability to sell, fits our need, takes it out of our hands so we can just go to distribution with it, not deal with it. So I'm going, you guys get this, I'm not selling it. You can see the advertisement for it on my website, but it's going to point to you. You handle it. They have to then in turn buy it in a certain volume in order for us to have a good relationship. And now we can start to talk about, what really distribution means, because it's hard, because again, even where you're at, we're playing this game, generally speaking, you have multiple channels of potential channels. Like there's retail, right? There's wholesale, and there's distribution, right? So there's these three potential revenue sources, and obviously direct retail. If I sell direct, I make all the money, and it's like, okay, this is functional, but I'm not doing enough. I can't sell enough. So,
Yeah.
but we get these guys who I'm selling to at wholesale, and they're competing. Now I'm competing with them, right? So I try and hold everybody to map, and I'm competing with everybody, and we're actually competitive, and I want these guys to sell. So
Yeah.
we've always held our map prices, and we never undersell. And still, a customer will go to a store and get a better price, or will come to us and we'll sell them something, and we'll end up selling against the store, and the store feels like we cheated them out of business, right? So that it's like, fuck, man, it's such a hard place to be in this competitive with my guys that I'm relying on to be my teammates.
Right.
So we're trying to take that away from them, right? By saying, hey, this is ours. You refer, we'll give you a referral. This is yours. We won't compete. You
Yeah.
will never get this on my website. We will always point to you.
That's great. That's huge.
That's it's huge, right? And that's
Yeah.
where you got to kind of find that space. Like maybe it's a smaller item or whatever, something that starts with it that you think is going to do really well, and go, hey, this belongs to you, man. You guys fucking bang this out. If it works, then we'll work about the rest of it later. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hard part, because I
Right.
mean, the margins get so tight down there at wholesale. I mean, at distribution, that you've got to sell a lot.
You're right. Yeah. And if
Otherwise, you're
distributors
just
aren't,
wasting your time.
we've had a few distributors and they just weren't moving the kind of products that could justify
Yeah.
the margin that they're getting. And we're like, well, if you're only ordering as much as one of our other accounts that we manage,
Yeah.
we can't really
And what's the
make that.
point?
Yeah. They need to
Right.
have good payment terms, and there's a whole bunch of things to
Yeah,
contribute to
yeah.
that.
They're pushing you on every other side over here and not delivering, right? You have to
Yeah.
have. It's like, I'll do all this for you, but you need to give me
Yeah.
this volume, because that's how I
Yeah.
survive.
Right.
Well, I just don't know, because the market's. I'm like, well, fuck you, man. I'm not
Yeah.
bending over backwards to make pennies when
Yeah.
I can make my dollars. I mean, I'm doing
Yeah.
okay over here. I'm trying to
Yeah.
extend this revenue stream, extend this opportunity for my company. And you need to. I mean, obviously you have to, in order to get the kind of recognition that ultimately that your company wants, right? You have to find, and you will find them. There are a couple of partners out there that are available, and it's just about getting in front of them and finding that right guy. A co-brand with a cookies could fucking change your life. You know
Yeah.
what I
No
mean?
doubt. Yeah. No doubt.
And that's the kind of things that those are the kind of opportunities that we have to kind of find. And we're a small community. Those guys are all accessible, which is really interesting. Maybe not easy to find, but they're all accessible. The community is pretty small.
You're right. It is. And to your point about collaborating, there's a lot of great companies that we want to be partnered with. It helps us.
For
It helps
sure.
them. There's a lot of great people in this industry. By and large, people I work with are awesome, and we're happy to partner and help. And we do giveaways with a whole bunch of different, what we think are our favorite companies.
I pay for this shit, right?
Yeah.
Yep, I
Yeah.
pay for this.
Yeah.
I could be putting your bags in my trimmers when I send them out.
Yeah.
Right? We pay
Yeah.
for this. I don't get breaks on this crap, but this is
Yeah.
crap that stuff that I send out.
I can definitely get you some really cool accessories that we can private label every single thing that we do, which I'll show you one of our things that I think we're going to probably be probably going to market with distributors in a bigger way, because our margins are a bit better. But this is what we call our smart jar. So it has just basically a humidor, but it has a hygrometer on the lid, and then
Nice.
we include it with a Boveda packet, so it maintains
So,
at 60,
okay, so
62%.
we work with we do this with Boveda all the time. Every machine I send out goes with Boveda in it.
Nice. Yeah.
Why
Well, then
wouldn't
you
it,
should.
right?
So we have various sizes of these. You should be. we can print your. We can talk about business things later.
Yeah,
but
I mean, no, this
anyway.
is good. This is part of This is part of the conversation. I mean, this is what. So, industry born is. This is what this is about. Like, people need to understand that, like, this is business. Like, it's trying to understand, get things moving, right? I mean, this is part of really valuable conversations. There's people out there going, I don't even know what to do next, right? They had this great idea. They got to where you are. They got to where I am. Like, what's next? And it's just a continuous evolution of pushing the envelope and figuring out who and how. Because, I mean, if you approach me about a deal, and you're like, and you're just thinking about yourself, right? I'm going to pick up on it, and we're probably not going to get a good deal.
Yeah.
You come to me with an idea that you think is going to help me, and you know that's going to help you. I'm okay with that, right? Because I
Yeah.
know that you
Yeah.
need to earn.
Yeah.
We all need to make money, right? So
Right.
I'm okay with that. And if we come out of the deal and we both feel like we got beat up a little bit, but we both feel like we're going to do okay, we win, right? We
Yeah.
go, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
this could be a really valuable ad, right? This could be a benefit for the both of us, right? Why
Right.
wouldn't we do that?
Yeah.
And so we're happy to do that. I mean, we don't sell we're not selling thousands of pieces of equipment a month,
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're not gonna get a ton, but you're gonna get, if it's going out in every one of my pieces of equipment, people are gonna see it.
Those are
Brand
the people.
recognition.
Those are our people. We
Yeah,
want them to know about us because they love
that's right.
cannabis and they're really into it, and it's a
Yeah,
career of theirs. They want to act like pros, and to
yeah,
do it, you don't want
yeah.
to
So
carry around your old.
we
Yeah.
need to look at that a little bit farther, and for something like that, like for me, that's not a branding opportunity for me if I'm sending it out. That's an opportunity for you, but it gives me a value add, because when I send out a Bovida, I could say, Bovida, I want us to do my own packets. I wanted my GreenBroz packets, right?
Yeah.
We would have a different conversation with them, and we could go down the road. Then I got to market that and become a salesman for that, and that's just not my thing. But what if I take Bovida, their branded packet, and I put it in my thing, and I send it out, the customer knows I'm telling them this is a quality company, and we
Mhm.
believe in them. And we believe in them so much that I'm giving you something
Yeah.
from them, right?
Right.
You should take a look at this brand, right?
Yeah.
And that adds value to me, because they go, oh, look at GreenBroz. That's GreenBroz continuously saying, hey, I know this industry, I know value, and I'm providing it to you, right? So
Right.
does it work? Yeah, they get calls all the time from people that buy our shit. They go and they buy the Bovida stuff, and it works. It works really, really well. And it's so to me, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even want a white label. I'd want to just put it in there as an opportunity for them to see. Now we have to talk about. I'm sure they don't cost me as much as these stupid things do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we're so like. I mean, if you were, we can get your logo printed on the glass jar. So if we do this for some dispensaries, and we print it on the bottom, and it says,
Yeah.
looks like it's time to re-up, and then it says like live well on the bottom. So then when they're
Yeah.
out of their weed and they see the thing, we're like, who are they thinking of first? Obviously, it's live well. So
Yeah. Live well.
so
Right.
there's so
Yeah, but
that's
now
the
listen,
product
I'd
line.
love to work with you on it. I mean, because again, you spend so much time, and money in channels that don't pay, and it's frustrating, and hopefully, I can't promise you anything, but I can tell you I can get it out, and I'll get you some exposure.
Yeah.
And you never know, because the thing is, the customers that we're hitting are guys who are going looking for solutions. They're like, hey, we're going to start doing eighths. I need jars for eighths. Hey, look
Yeah.
at this thing. There's a
Yeah.
jar
Yeah.
that I can put an eighth in, and it has a
Yeah.
hydrometer on it. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. Let's see
Yeah.
about that, right?
Yeah.
Now you're
Yeah.
selling thousands,
Yeah.
because they're producing thousands.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what's crazy.
I
It's like,
definitely see a lot of synergies between lots of companies in the industry.
Yeah.
Even yours, I think there's a partnering up with
Sure.
people and working together is helping the quality players and quality people rise above, and people that have been in it for 5+ years.
Yeah.
There's some staying power if you're able to pull it off for that long. We have a refrigerator at our office that is just filled with stickers, all cannabis stickers, and you can just look around, and a third of them are those companies are
They're
not even
gone.
there anymore. They're in 5 years or less,
Yeah.
they're gone.
It's hard, man. Business is hard, and that's what they say. Like, if you make it through the first year, your odds of survival go exponentially higher. But after 5 years, you made it.
Yeah.
You should be solidified to the point where you're going to be successful. That's varying degrees of success, depending on what you identify that as. But
Yeah.
you
You're not
you should be
likely to
established.
flame out too badly.
Right.
You're hopefully built something.
I don't know
of value.
how you started, but I started driving up the coast of California with machines in my truck, trying to talk to people
Yeah. Wow.
How
Yeah.
did you start your deal? Like,
Yeah.
I
I
mean, I
mean,
know the canopy thing, but I mean, like, you still had to go sell. So how did you do that?
yeah. Well, our first couple accounts were here in Boulder, the farm. They've got a great store and a great retail space,
Yeah.
and they're well known for that. And another one called the Joya, and those two are our first accounts. And um, it's like I said, it's been a mixture. We really tried to hone our skills on online, and we had a distributor in Canada that did really well for us and got us a lot of activity until cannabis legalized in Canada. Things were going really well for us there, and for various reasons, it Canada's been a mess ever since they legalized. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, Canada has been a mess, and I think we've done well up there as well. And we kind of go back and forth. Like we ride a little bit of a wave up there. So
yeah,
um, they're really not as big a market as you would think. They're probably a bigger market for you than they are for us because they have such limited licenses and stuff like that. But I was talking to another company and we were kind of in the negotiation about some technology because I get the opportunity. I'm very fortunate. I mean, people come to me with IP opportunity. I'm like, ooh, that maybe I can do this. So I'm like, I'm picking and choosing with shit that I think might be cool. But they came at me with this idea like, we're gonna do I don't even know if I should say the number, but it was a number. They were like, I mean, we think that this thing will do like 400 million a year, and I'm like, that's
wow,
bigger than all of fucking equipment and cannabis combined in the world, man. You're fucking crazy as hell. I mean, if it works, I'm all in.
yeah,
It's just a really misconception sometimes of what's available to you, and you see this all the time. I mean, companies come in, they got these fucking pie in the sky ideas, and they go, "Ooh, we're gonna do this. Ooh, we're gonna do that," and you're like, "No,
yeah.
you don't have a fucking
Reality hits. Yeah,
reality is much different." I mean, we have what, like 8,000 dispensaries in the United States, maybe 10. Maybe 10. I don't know. It was 2020 number, so maybe 10,000. Let's say 10,000 dispensaries. Legal grows at about 25,000.
wow, really,
Okay,
wow,
that's it, right?
okay,
That's where we are today. We're not, that
yeah,
that's your companies that you get to choose from.
yeah,
Consumer wise, for you, obviously there's what 98 million regular cannabis consumers in the country.
okay,
So you've got 98 million people that you get to
yeah.
potentially sell to.
You're right.
I don't
Yeah,
have 98 million
no,
people. I've got
yeah,
about
no,
30,000.
yeah, yeah. That's a good
So
point.
you gotta know. You gotta know what your market is, man, or
Yeah,
what a potential is, and then you gotta be realistic about it. Like, it's so funny because I mean, even if I told you, if I told you, like your market is $98 million, or 98 million customers, that people that are regular users that could be interested in your product, in a general sense. So, what's 10% of that?
yeah.
Nine
Nine,
point eight
10,
million.
10 million people. Yeah,
That ain't too fucking bad. That'd be
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So we put these investor decks together, and we talk about these kind of crazy numbers, and we're like, well, you kind of
Yeah.
look at the whole world. What is the potential for that?
Yeah,
And
the
then
population of the entire world.
yeah, and then you're like, well, how many
Six
cannabis consumers
trillion.
are those? But when reality comes to play,
Yeah.
most people have you put weed in a baggie in their pocket. You know,
Yeah.
we're having to change the game,
That's how they
and
do it.
that's when we first came along. That there really weren't a lot of options for storing your weed, and so most people either just put it in a baggie in their pocket, or they use their old Dob kit, toiletry
Yeah.
bag, or their old backpack or something, or a shoebox or a sock drawer,
Yeah.
or whatever. It just
Yeah.
and we're still in that mindset of letting people
Yeah.
know there is a way to store weed, and there's a reason why you probably want to buy
Well,
a
consumer
Stashlogix
education,
product.
that's another thing too. And this is what I laugh about because it's like I don't give a shit how good your idea is. I don't care. It could be the best fucking idea in the world. You still have to tell somebody why it's the best.
Yeah,
And then they have to decide if they actually want to buy it. They
right.
might think it's the best with you, and they might go, "Yeah, my sock is good."
Right.
You're like,
Totally.
fuck.
And they have the attention span of a flea. So for most
Yeah.
people, so they're, you got to really stop them in their tracks to get them to
You
say, "Oh
gotta,
yeah,
you gotta
I,
get. That's right.
you
That's right.
really," and that's
This is
not
a,
easy to
it's a game.
do.
It's a game that we all play. It's a marketing game. It's we all deal with it. Um, Competitor comes along, and then it's just like fuck it, whatever. It doesn't matter. But the reality of it is like it it is just that game, and it's not a pie in the sky. It's about work. It's about energy. It's about effort. I mean, that you have different opportunities. We work with some influencers as well, and we do some private placement on some massive. Used to be more so with Facebook. Now we don't fuck with Facebook so much.
We don't either.
Facebook's kind of a turd.
Yeah.
We do a lot of stuff with LinkedIn, but you don't really have the influencer impact on LinkedIn.
Right.
But we do some other social influencers, and those do okay.
Right.
But we got to find an influencer who has an audience that's going to be people who use our equipment.
Right. Yeah. And how do you? Yeah.
Who knows enough people that grow weed?
Particularly because your industry, they've come from a legacy of not wanting
Yeah,
anybody to know
not
that they
talking
grow
about
weed.
it.
Yeah, they don't want anybody to know. So
That's right.
they're still worried about that, I'm sure,
Yeah,
to some extent. So
absolutely.
you it's hard to connect with growers. They're a very tough
It
breed,
is.
and it's
They're tough. They're still, and
kudos to
now
you.
they corporatize it.
That's what you've really figured out is you've able to talk to them, to work with them, have
Yeah,
credibility to them. That's really huge. Like that's
yeah.
your selling
And we,
point. That's
you know,
because if somebody comes along from China and tries to do this, they're like, how do they even connect with the growers?
yeah.
How do they even find them? You know.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that thankfully we built our company that way, right? So we built it on relationships and building friendships and support for people. And my mantra is like I grew up in a small business home, and it was always a struggle and everything was difficult, and we had very few friends. You know what I mean? Like corporate friends, like company friends that would be come from another industry and help.
Okay.
Everybody was looking for money. Everybody's looking for it, but no one was coming in. But a couple of them did. And I tell this story a lot. But we had a guy that sold paper to my dad, and he didn't sell a lot of paper to us. We didn't buy a lot of paper, but he came in every week. He was there for 15 minutes every week, talking to my dad. Hey, I know somebody that can help you. And so we just kind of took that as like that's us, right? So my guys go in and talk,
Yeah.
hang out, figure out what the customer needs, and then if it's not us, we'll help you. Like
Yeah.
I'm not selling other people's equipment, but I'm not shy, and I won't. I'm not afraid to say, hey, we may not be the answer, right?
Yeah.
That you might need to look for a different answer. We don't perform this function. We know these companies who do.
Because you're
So
selling a system as a solution. You're selling.
right,
You're really trying to solve problems. So you're
yeah,
you're trying to help them, and you need their input, and you need their
yeah.
trust and all that
It's
to.
a two-way street for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we're a little bit, I guess, different, and we don't have that sort of relationship with our customers like you do. Some of
yeah,
our customers we do, and some of our bigger
yeah,
dispensaries we have really good relationships, and they know we value them, a lot,
yeah.
and we give them a lot of free stuff, and we try and take care of them as best we can, and we want
Sure, of
to
course.
know that as competitors come into the space, they're like, why would we get rid of Stashlogix?
Yeah,
People love their stuff. They're always on time. They do what they say they're going to do. Just the standard
yeah.
business things. If we take care of them, they're likely to. It's going to be harder for somebody to come along and knock us out. So,
And by the way, those standard business things aren't so standard. So you're
yeah,
way ahead, especially in this industry. Fuck,
yeah.
man, people are so shady. I think it's everywhere, but I mean, it's
This
sometimes it
industry
feels
has
like.
some pretty flaky people that you just have to learn who they are and stay away from
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
But
there's
the
a lot
problem
of
is they
others that are
bounce
great.
around from spot to spot,
Yeah, it's
and they
very
do all this
true.
damage. And in the interim, you're like,
Yeah,
ah.
yeah. Very true.
Fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty cool, man. Listen, I appreciate the opportunity. I know that this is kind of frenetic. It's just an open conversation. We talk about whatever. Is there anything that you'd like to ask me or that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get a chance to discuss at all? Or We got time. I mean, I let these things run as long as they run. I don't
Okay.
care.
Yeah.
Pretty
No, it's
disrespectful, I
interesting.
guess.
No, it was an interesting conversation. I guess I'll take the moment to, show one of our products, just because I think that might
Sure.
be a little
Yeah,
bit
that's
more
great.
relevant. So this is what we call our silver tin, and it's got a lock on it. And
Very cool.
these are probably our best selling products. And then this is kind of what I store in mine. So I've got some of those, well, you
Yeah.
can't
Got a
see.
couple of jars in there.
Couple of the jars. I got a glass piece and just some grinders and
Nice.
it was a pretty awesome grinder. Anyway, that
Nice.
everything can be kind of organized and adjusted, and we have some other products that are similar where it's just smell proof and it holds a bunch of different things in a way
That's
that
really
keeps.
cool. And those are all smell proof.
Yeah, and here's
Like even
another
that little
one.
pouch right there.
Yeah, this one's totally smell proof. You can't smell it at all. I
Really?
keep this is like a little or
Uh,
it's like an
Vapor or
old
what?
bounce tube or spoof where you exhale through and it
Oh.
absorbs the smoke. So I got to keep a pipe in there. I got these bamboo tubes. These might be cool for you
Nice.
to we can
That's your
engrave
high
these.
school kit. I didn't
Yeah,
say that out
it
loud. I
is.
did say
Yeah,
that out
yeah, yeah.
loud.
These little tins. Yeah, this is your little, lighter. It's just
Yeah.
anyway, just a way to keep a bunch of stuff in your pocket. You can go
Yeah.
skiing or
It's
go
all
out at night
organized.
or
You don't smell like an ashtray. You don't smell like a bong, and
yeah,
you've got everything you need all in one space.
yeah. So that's what we're all about is just how do you integrate it in your life in different ways and
That's really
opportunities.
cool. I mean, it is really a lifestyle kind of support
Yeah.
piece is
Well,
what it comes down
I'll
to.
send you a few products, and then if you see an opportunity where you want to put your logo on something, I think that they'll have the product, use it,
I
and they'll see your name every day. So it may
I
help
think
you get some sales.
I do appreciate that. I'd like to actually get a hold of. We'll get you in touch with my marketing team.
Cool.
Um, and what we'll probably end up doing is taking one of your less expensive kind of products that carries your brand on it,
Yeah.
right? And what we'll do is and we may put ours on the other side or whatever, but I'd like to go ahead and do that, and then we'll throw it in as a gift with our machine. So,
Yeah.
when they use it,
We'll make it work for you. We
cool.
don't.
Because when they get these things, they open up this machine and you open up the lid of the machine and there's a package of stuff.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
hat, t-shirt, fucking.
Okay.
If they buy a really big machine, they get one of these. Again,
Okay. Cool.
shameless.
Yeah.
But these are things that are really affordable for us, and honestly, they go a long way, right? Because what they do is they reinforce the fact that we appreciate them, not only as a customer for us, but we appreciate that they're in the industry and that we are thinking about their success beyond just us, right? So we're always thinking about how my customers can be successful and what they can do to make their lives better. And so I think it would be a very good fit, and we'll get something figured out.
Excellent. All right.
Now
Well, thanks. Yeah.
I know before we go, we want to do the call out. So you have a website?
Stashlogix. It's with an X at the end, not a CS. Yeah.
All right. And we will print that. They'll see it when they go to the picture. It
Okay.
gets put on the screen
Right.
for us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then are you on socials as well? Are you on Instagram and all that stuff?
We're on Instagram. We kind of shut down our Facebook because they were banning us anyway. So we just decided to. It just looked bad because we didn't have very many followers. So like, well, forget it. We're not gonna even have it. So
Yeah.
anyway, Instagram's the main place, or LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn and Instagram. Isn't that great? LinkedIn is cool.
Yeah, yeah. I
do love
personally don't
LinkedIn.
use it as much as I don't post on it too often, but
Yeah.
it is still
You
functional
know
for
what?
me.
I mean, honestly, no. It's great. Like you can find people who are like me, like you, dispensary owners. That's where you find these people. You get a name, you can find them on LinkedIn. You may not be able to get a hold of this guy any other way. But you send a message on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm in the industry. You're a CEO. I'm the CEO. I just reached out to say hi. I'm wondering if maybe we could connect. I connect with every CEO that comes along.
Yeah, I don't even know how I connected with business people before LinkedIn. I mean, it was
Yeah.
not easy, but LinkedIn is a
It's not
really
easy.
useful tool.
Yeah,
No
it's
doubt.
really cool. I think it was really a great opportunity. I feel like we met, but I don't know that we did. But I know that I saw your product
Okay.
at the Rio. I know I did because Patrick was geeked about it, and Patrick at that time was on my board, and he had actually asked me to come through his project, but we were kind of a step beyond
Okay.
by the
Yeah. Yeah.
time he had gotten that boulder thing all together, so we
Yeah.
just didn't go through it. But
Yeah.
I got started in the ArcView thing, so I'm familiar with all that stuff.
Okay.
But
You are. All right.
yeah. So it's really cool to see you be successful, and I think you guys are well on your way. I'm excited for that. That's great. It sounds like it sounds like you're getting the brand recognition, or at least the the recognition, the understanding that the brand is a quality brand, and that's huge. And beyond that, a couple of right people in the right place, a little bit more, it'll start to roll for you, and you'll start to get that. You'll get beyond that place where it's a daily struggle to the place where it's like, this is fucking really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I agree. Thanks,
yeah.
Colin. Appreciate that. And yeah, well, looking forward to talking to you more down the road.
Thank you all for joining this week's podcast. You can check us out at GreenBroz.com and all the socials at GreenBroz.